It's good. Well, let's get it ready. Hey, Internet. This is Teacher on the Radio, and hey, Radio World, because we were pre-recording for Saturday, August 31st at 88.5 FM WTTU, campus and community radio from Tennessee Tech. This is your friend, Teacher on the Radio. We're pre-recording this on the Internet on Tuesday, August 27th. My guest this afternoon or this morning, depending on when you're listening, is Matthew Black. New album out that's available wherever you stream your music. It's called A Little Closer. And he's going to be performing in Cookeville 2 shows, one at my house on Saturday night. And if you're a friend in the community, if you just contact me directly, I will send you directions to my undisclosed location on the west side of Cookeville, Tennessee, to come on over and have a little supper and some live music. Or you could come to my church, which is the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cookeville, and we gather at 10 a.m. every Sunday. And this week, Matthew will be leading our service for us at 10 a.m. on September 1st at 31 West 1st Street, right in the heart of downtown Cookeville. It's right across the street from the Leslie Town Center. That's the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cookeville. So Matthew Black from Louisville, Kentucky, via the miracle of live streams. Welcome to Cookeville. Welcome to Teacher on the Radio. I'm glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't you tell us a little bit, and I want to know this because I've only recently come familiar with you as a person and you as a musician. Tell us a little bit about some of your origin stories, and you can go back as far in your life as you feel you want to. Tell us about how you found songwriter, folk music, how you found your way to the genre that you're so invested in today, how you found your way on this journey to putting music online for people to buy, to stream. And my understanding is you've been touring a lot of house shows this summer, various places here, there, and everywhere to support this new album. So tell us a little bit, though, to begin about your backstory and how you found your way to being a
Thanks. Well, I come from a musical family. And I was raised in the Presbyterian church. And so there was a lot of just music in and around my life. I started writing songs when I was in high school. And that began as a dare, kind of. I was in a carpool and they would listen to the pop music at the time. And I was a huge music snob. And so I despised the music that they were listening to, which was popular music at the time. Now I like it. I've come around, but I was all snobby about it. And I said to myself, anybody could write silly pop songs like this, and I can prove it. And I went home and I wrote a song trying to make it a bad song, but it came out better than I expected it to. And then my ego exploded and my head inflated. And I was like, I'm a songwriter. And I proceeded to write a lot of very self-absorbed, really crappy, lousy songs in that. But then I kept doing it and got better at it and enjoyed it more and more as I got better at it and just kind of explored it on my own. Somewhere in the middle of my adulthood, I started trying to take it more seriously as a side hustle, and recorded my first album and put that out in 2014. But still couldn't really make anything happen. And then a couple of years ago in 2022, I was like, well, I was working as an IT person, IT manager, and was enjoying it, and it was a good gig and all of that. But I'd been at the one job I was at for 9 years, and was like, maybe it's time for a change. And then said to myself, well, what would happen if this music thing hasn't quite worked professionally as a side hustle? What would happen if I gave it my full-time attention? And so that's what I'm doing now. I left my job in 2022 and have been chasing the music thing full time, and it's still too early to find out. But I've just put my new album out this last June. Um, and it's people are saying lovely things about it, and I'm having a great time.
So, what are some of the more exciting places you've gotten to play out since you've made this decision to be a dedicated professional music? Like, what is maybe the most exciting or interesting gig you've had so far
I
on
mean,
this endeavor?
exotic locations like Indianapolis, Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky, Traverse City, Michigan. I mean, really it's rock star life. I mean, um, right now I'm going to wherever anyone will have me. It's a lot of just hustle of how can I get myself in front of people and get these songs in front of people, because I think the songs are good and a lot of people they've been responding really well. But I'm new at this and don't have the kind of clout where I can get booked just anywhere. Not playing stadiums yet.
So, are you doing like crowdfunded type stuff? Are you getting people to help pay for some of the expenses to make the album in advance? Are you doing a some subscription based stuff like Patreon and things of that nature? Or how are you making the day to day part? I know CDs in stores isn't the way it works anymore.
Yeah, a lot of us don't have our CDs in Walmart anymore. The I am on Patreon, and if people are interested in that, they can check it out. That's been a wonderful kind of innovation for a lot of independent musicians, and in fact, the founder of Patreon is an independent songwriter, an independent musician, and so Patreon is built for musicians in ways, even though lots of other types of artists use it. It kind of was built with musicians in mind, so it does work really well for people like me. And just a great way to really kind of connect directly with people and give them behind the scenes access and stuff like that. So that's certainly been a big part that I launched right away. The other, the other revenue streams are all over the place, and this is still, as I've said, like this is still the find out phase for how one actually like makes money as an independent musician. But there's a lot of agreement for all the people who have opinions about such things. There's a lot of agreement that what really makes it work is the direct connection with fans. And so doing things like playing house concerts is really kind of ideal, because you're working with a really small audience and you get to know them and you get to like really make connections that you can't make in a stadium, actually. It works better for people who are starting out like me to start small and like build those connections and really get to know the people, and the people who are really going to resonate strongly with the songs, the and music is this beautiful subjective thing where you don't necessarily have to have Beyonce level stardom in order to have a song that touches people and that they can really connect with. So these songs are important to us, and they not just the ones I write. I have songs that have touched me deeply, and that's why I wanted to become a songwriter. I wanted to like explore that connection. How does one do that? This song made me think and feel and resonate with the songwriter or the singer in this remarkable way. And it became, and now this song is part of the soundtrack of my life. And so like, it's a really powerful medium, and it's so gratifying to get to sit on the other side of that and to have something that I created really resonate strongly with others is really a gift.
So, when I asked you your origin story, your interesting take on that was bad pop music that other people were listening to, and I can do this, and I might even be able to do this a little bit better. But what were some of those soundtrack of your life moments when a song connected with you in that way? And not your music from the very first listen I had to your music. That's why I reached out to you and initiated this friendship. Was your music grabbed me the very first time that I listened to it? But what were some of those moments? Was it on record? Was it on radio? Was it seeing somebody live? Tell me some specifics about how you found that connection from other artists that made it seem possible for you to do it yourself.
Well, I don't know about seeming possible. That the whole like, is it possible, is actually a really long journey for me. But the what really comes to mind was actually the opposite of the me thinking the song on the radio wasn't good. It was when I thought it was good. Um, I was in 7th grade when the monster ballad phenomenon was occurring, and one of the top ones was a song called More Than Words by Extreme, which was this group that was mostly a hard rock heavy metal band, but then they did this one song that was this acoustic, um, and even the music video they made was all about half the band was just sitting in chairs listening, like they'd put away the amplifiers and the drums, and it was one acoustic guitar and two guys singing this amazing harmony, and I was in. And I went to my dad, who was a self-taught guitarist, and I was like, I want to learn how to play guitar, and I want to learn how to play this song. And my dad, God bless him, sat in front of the like recorded on the VCR, the MTV video, where they only show like maybe half the chords that the guy's playing, and he figured out what the chord, and some of the chords were like not standard chords. There's one of them that I've never seen again anywhere. Like, so really far too difficult for a beginner to learn. And basically I spent 2 years in my bedroom trying to learn how to play that song. But I love the song so much that it was motivating enough that it didn't matter that I wasn't good at it right away. I was able to stick with it because the song was so compelling. And that kind of got me started. And then I had, this basic library of chords that I had learned from that song. It's like, well, I already know how to play A and D and so forth. So then, well, what Beatles songs have those chords? Can I play those? And that sort of thing. Just getting into what could I do with what I had gotten from there.
We're on a live stream right now that's also going to be dropped into a radio program on Saturday, August the 31st on WTTU 88.5 FM from the campus of Tennessee Tech. I'm Teacher on the Radio, and we're pre-recording this in Cookeville on August the 27th. My guest today is Matthew Black. Matthew Black is a singer-songwriter out of Louisville, Kentucky, who's coming to Cookeville this weekend. Actually, if you're hearing this on Saturday, he's coming to Cookeville today. If you're hearing this online, he's coming this coming weekend. He's out touring behind a brand new album called A Little Closer. A Little Closer. And it's an independent record released by him, and it's about 13 tracks. And it really deals with a lot of really intense feelings and issues about the world in which we're living, such as everything is terrible and no one is okay, and the day that Leonard Cohen died, and things like this. Tell me a little bit about the songwriting process for you, a little bit about this album, how you want people to access it in terms of their, not like should they get it on Apple or Spotify or YouTube. I mean, like, how should they access it emotionally? Like, what kind of presentation are you going for in these songs? I think you even have a few anthems. I nicknamed our gathering on Sunday "We Carry On" because I think that song to me feels like a hymn or an anthem, or like something for like activists to like sing in a march or something like that. Tell me a little bit about your topics and your songwriting in specifics in terms of your lyrics and in terms of your message.
Oh, thanks for that question. I think "We Carry On" is a good place to start. It's been the song that's really kind of gotten people excited. Where there's been some enthusiastic response beyond my own network, and like strangers listening to it and responding really well. So I've been very pleased by that. I think it certainly was. There is this, and with that song in particular, I think there is this constant. There's a constant songwriting project I'm always thinking about, which is how can we be singing as people who are involved in activism and movements, like what's the music that feeds that? Because it's grueling work to just exist and be informed in our current reality. These times are ridiculous, and so what's the music that can help keep us going is kind of a constant question for me. And I think We Carry On came from that, and and feeling out like, what if this could be something that people could sing at like a rally or something like that, and sing along to and be part of. And then of course the kind of the real kind of like conceit of the song is the old poster from World War II that got revived, "Keep calm and carry on," and there's a lyric in the song in the first chorus that's like, well, we're keeping on and we're keeping strong, but there's no way we're keeping calm. This like we should not, like, keep calm and carry on should not be interpreted as passivity in our current times, right? We can't just sit on our bottoms and not engage with all of the problems of our current situation. And so the song does kind of have this motivation into it. And quite frankly, I write lots of songs that start out similarly to how We Carry On starts out, which is just like, here's a list of everything that's wrong. And usually those don't turn into good songs, because you just end up with a giant list of everything that you're already feeling depressed about, and that doesn't necessarily make for good art. It can be cathartic to write it down sometimes, but it doesn't always turn into a good song. And I've had many songs that just stay angry and don't go anywhere. This one, in the writing of it, felt like it just kind of took a turn on its own, and then it got hopeful. And by the end of it, you're actually like excited and inspired. Even me, every time I perform it, I kind of like start in the space of like, well, here's everything that's wrong, and this is kind of, I hate that we're talking about this stuff still, and like listing all the problems in our world. But then by the end of it, I feel better too. Like that like, oh, maybe there's we do kind of share a common purpose as people who live in a society together, and we can make the world a better place and take care of each other, and that, like, all that sort of stuff, like, which is something I need to be reminded of all the time. So I'm very pleased that one song at least kind of helps do the work for me.
Well, thank you so much, Matthew, taking some time out of your weekday preparations for this conversation. Once again, this is Teacher on the Radio, and we're putting this out there on the internet live right now on a Tuesday afternoon to prepare for our activities. And once again, the brand new album by Matthew Black, A Little Closer, is available wherever you stream your music. It's also going to be presented, some of those songs and probably some other songs we really want to hear will be presented at my house on Saturday night, August the 31st. You can swing by anytime between 5 and 8 p.m. tonight, and you can join us. If you want contact information for how to find me and how to find your way there, just please direct message me by whatever means you know how to do that. And Saturday morning, it's open to the public at 10 a.m. Central Time at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cookeville. Matthew will be leading our very fun, eclectic worship time at the UU here in Cookeville at 10 a.m. at 31 West 1st Street in Cookeville. Matthew, what would you say to somebody who's never listened to your music that you met, like, say, at a, in the old elevator speech thing, or are walking down the street and they're like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a musician. Oh, what is that even? How does it even work? What would you say to a stranger to get them excited to maybe listen to your songs?
Oh man. I think well, one thing I've learned in my life is that if I say folk music and then people hear the songs, they're not disappointed. It's hard to like put yourself in a category. But but sometimes if I claim a category, people have been like, wait, that's not what it is. Like, but if I say folk music and they're like, oh, well, this was good actually, they're never sad about it. And I do think folk music is music with a meaning and with a message, and the message is what I am most often complimented on. Like that's what I hear from most people, is that they are glad that of the content of the songs, what I'm trying to say, the things that I'm talking about, that I'm actually naming things in songs that other people avoid. That's been the feedback that's really been very gratifying to me, and I think that I think that's why my songs are worth checking out.
So in your bio, you name check some artists, and I know in the music biz, this is as commonplace as what brand of guitar you use or whatever. But and some people hate to be compared or whatever. Comparisons are always a little bit flimsy at their root. But by the same token, you mentioned in your bio, or you were told by your fans, and then you mentioned in your bio, Cat Stevens, Paul Simon, Jason Isbell, Joe Pug, and Sufjan Stevens. If you know any of those artists, those are all really good points of reference. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups online where people are always encouraging each other to listen to new artists that they've never heard of, and they oftentimes will drop some of those references in there to get people excited. So I think those were good references. I think the album is absolutely fantastic. I give it all the stars. I hope some people listen today. If they're listening to the radio version, they'll hear I will sandwich these conversation points with some of your music, and then we'll play some maybe by some of those artists or other artists you'll help me choose to go along. So my guest co-host for the day as well, because he's helping co-curate the playlist today, but also my guest interviewee has been Matthew Black from Louisville, Kentucky. Once again, this is Teacher on the Radio. For those of you who are in Cookeville and who don't have other plans, we sure hope we can catch a few of you out this coming Saturday night, August 31st, and Sunday morning, September the 1st, for Matthew Black as he presents some of his fantastic music from his new album. Thanks for the chat today, Matthew.
Thanks very much.